Hello everybody, and welcome back to Zen ASMR. In today's video, we're gonna be doing some color swatches. So I just got these new art markers. And I wanted to go ahead and do the little swatch cards, which thankfully they come with, because I was thinking of doing this either way, but then I did some searching in the actual bag and I saw that these came with them. So that's really nice. I'm glad that these came with them. And it has each of the colors, a little square in order to go ahead and color them. There are 48 different colors in this set, and these are the Ohuhu Markers, and it is in the Honolulu series. They have different series that have different combinations of the colors, and I thought this one had a good rainbow variety. That we can go ahead and work with. Honestly, could listen to a whole video of just the rummaging of the markers. But today we'll go ahead and do the color swatching so we can see how all of these markers actually look outside of the packaging, as a lot of times they look a little different once they're put on paper and dried out a little. So we'll go ahead and start with the first color swatch card. This one has all the yellows, reds, pinks, and some purples apparently, kind of a mix of everything. And then the second one will have more like greens and blues and some more of the darker tones. So we'll go ahead and do that, and in addition to the color swatch cards that the markers come with, it also comes with this really handy sheet, and it's for if you're coloring on thin paper. It says to please put this pad between your coloring sheets to prevent any bleed through, so that's really helpful, especially when coloring in coloring books and things like that, where it can bleed to the design that you have behind it. And I will be doing some coloring book coloring, I guess, in a future video. Once we go ahead and get all the swatches done, then we can go ahead and see the types of colors that we're working with, and then be able to color better by being able to see what colors can go together well and things like that. Again, I'm not like a professional artist or an artist really. I'm pretty bad at drawing, but I find coloring to be pretty therapeutic and just something that you don't really have to stress too much about. It's kind of a de-stressing hobby, I guess you can say, or activity. So I would really recommend coloring as just a cozy little hobby to have, and just something to do to decompress a little. So we'll go ahead and start with the first color, which is Y2 in the shade Sunflower. So sunflowers are actually my favorite flower. Oh, we have Y2 right here in the front. markers remind me of like little computer keys. If only you can detach them and use them as that, right? So we have Y2 right over here. And here you can see like how the markers look like outside of the case. On each side it has the shade name and as well as the side of each brush. We have the brush side and also the fine side. So these are double-sided, which is really handy. The brush side is, well, more like a brush, more, I guess, fluid, you can say. I'm not going to put my finger on it because while playing around with them earlier, I saw that they do stain very quickly. I guess since they are the base of the marker. And then on this side we have the fine tip, which is the one I think we're going to be using more today. It has a much more thin tip, more like a traditional marker. So I'll go ahead and start with this shade. Y2 in the shade Sunflower. Do apologize if it's not auto-focusing. Not sure why it's doing that. Could be because this is a lot further down. But so here we have the Ohuhu 48 marker set, color swatch 1 card, and we're gonna go ahead and start with our first little box. I kind of want to outline it first and then maybe fill it in to get a more precise fill, and so I'm not bleeding too much outside of the square. Okay. Very nice color. Very nice muted yellow, seems like. Alright, so here we have our first swatch. Since they are with a plastic exterior, they sound a lot nicer closer to the mic. So here we have our first square done. We'll go ahead and put the marker in the more back side. Next, let's go across instead of down. Let's go with Y3, which is barium yellow. Barium yellow shade, which is actually right here. Very kind of like pastel looking yellow. So here we have this one. In the barium yellow shade. So again, we'll use the fine tip. Do the outline and then go ahead and color in. I think this is going to look very pleasing once once it's all the way done and we can see all the colors actually showcased properly. And I do apologize if you guys hear any background noise. Doing ASMR can be a little challenging when everything needs to be pitch quiet, but it's for the ultimate relaxation experience. So this is Y3 in barium yellow. You can already tell the difference in the yellows, and I actually really like these two shades. I think they're very, very pretty. The sunflower color is almost kind of giving me like a mango-ish tone. It would need to be a little bit more orange tone to be considered mango, I guess. But that's kind of the vibe it was giving me. So next we have YR1 in dark yellow, which I am seeing close to here. YR1 in dark yellow. So again, going ahead and using the fine tip. And you can already tell if I actually bring out, if I find Y3, look at the difference between what it looks like out here and on the card. It's pretty drastic. I can understand as to why you can get confused with the colors between just picking it out from the bag and then going ahead and actually drawing it on something. But still, I'm really glad that they have it for reference. It's just maybe a little off. Maybe there's a reason as to why they do that. Again, I'm not like super knowledgeable on art things, but maybe there's a reason as to why they do it. I would really like to know, because they could make the colors on the outside a little more accurate. So here we go with dark yellow. And YR1. Oh, very dark. Very dark yellow. It's almost like a brown, I would say. I don't even know if I would. Okay, now that we're filling it, and I can maybe see a bit of a resemblance to a dark yellow. Okay, this is a very nice shade actually. I do really enjoy that. And I do think it is very different from the other two though. We're kind of getting a good little variety here, and I would say that the outside of this marker is definitely more comparable to the actual shade than the other ones were. So that's something interesting. So next we'll go with YR2, which is Marigold. The Marigold shade, which we actually have right here. This is kind of giving more of that mango-y color. So I guess maybe the more like cohesive shades, like more similar shades, go down this way. But I kind of like the flow of going this way, so I think we'll just continue doing that. So here we have a YR2 in Marigold. I do like the little shade names as well. I think they're very cute. And again, we'll go ahead and use our fine tip. Maybe I'll try doing a brush one, but I think it's kind of hard to get control of it. I think it'll just bleed everywhere since I'm not very seasoned with the use of these types of markers. But I always thought that these were really fun. I always used to see them in like Michaels and stuff growing up, and they were just, you know, with the artists. Oh no, what the artists got, the more like bougie markers, I guess, because they were a little more on the pricey side. But I'm glad to see that there's more affordable options, because I'm not sure if I mentioned, with this set there is 42 of the markers, or no, I'm sorry, 48 of the markers in this set. Has a variety of colors, and I actually got these off Amazon, and these were $40 for the 48 count, which I don't think is too bad because I think they're very good quality. They're not like bleeding around everywhere. They seem to be very consistent so far in the way that they color. They're not, as I mentioned, bleeding around everywhere and things like that. And I do really like the packaging as well. I do think the packaging is very sturdy, and I don't know, it's just very aesthetically pleasing, obviously, but it also looks like it has some quality put into it. So the Ohuhu brand, it actually came with a pamphlet in the back of the package here, and it gave a little more insight on their brand and things like that. This is not like in any way like affiliated with them. I just wanted to give a shout out to their brand because I do think it is really nice. And it actually gave more information on what inspired them as a brand. They're very inspired by the Hawaiian colors and very bright, radiant colors. So I would definitely check them out if you were interested in getting markers like this, because I so far really do enjoy them, and they do come carefully packaged and of course in their own little case and things like that. So just wanted to touch on that because maybe I didn't give as much information in the beginning about the markers. So next we're gonna have, we're transitioning into orange shade. We have YR3 and the shade just orange. So this is a very nice orange shade. It doesn't get more orange than that, I guess you can say. I really like how the outside of that marker looks. Orange is one of my favorite colors. I wouldn't say I get a lot of things in orange because I feel like it's hard to find items that come in orange or items that would go well, I guess you can say, in orange. For example, like our backdrop here is black, and although I love the color orange, I think it would be really distracting to have an orange kind of backdrop. I find it would be maybe a little bright and kind of take away from whatever you're showing. But I do love the color orange. It kind of very much kind of radiates happiness to me. So here we go. We have our shade YR3 in orange. Some nice little marker tapping. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Next we have YR4 in the shade salmon pink. Salmon pink. If I can see it. Not too sure why I'm kind of having trouble finding it. YR4. Here we go. I was expecting kind of a shade like this, but I guess that would be too pink for salmon, I guess you can say. So glad we were able to find that. YR and salmon pink. YR4. I think I said YR. So I feel like this shade is gonna be very different. And how it actually is gonna look on the paper. Let's see. Oh wow, I can already kind of tell how this looks. Very nice. Alright, so here we have our salmon pink. I actually do really like that shade. That can be super useful when coloring, let's say, like skin tones and things like that. I think that'll be a nice color to go ahead and do that. So next we have YR5, and this is in the shade Terracotta. I do see it over here. YR5 in Terracotta. This actually is a very pretty shade. It kind of reminds me of like a nice lip shade for like a lip gloss or something. It reminds me very much of like the Summer Fridays lip butter balms and the shade Vanilla Beige. In person it looks very comparable to that, so that's interesting. Very nice tone. That orange really sticks out compared to the other shades that kind of go in the same scheme together, at least just upon first glance. And this marker is actually a lot stiffer than the other ones. The other one seemed a little softer. So here we have our terracotta shade. Very nice. So our swatches seem to be coming along very nicely. I really like this row over here. This one's kind of throwing me off even though that orange is a beautiful color. But let's go and continue with BR1 in Raw Umber. Raw Umber. And this is how that one's looking. Almost painted it in the wrong spot. I was about to go there. This one is a very dark color. It almost reminds me of like a grayish tone. At least that's what it's looking like. Oh, okay. Now that I saw it a little better, it does look more like a deep like wood brown, which I guess is like what umber kind of represents there. So next we have BR2 and potato brown. Okay, potato brown. I think then the sounds of the marker tapping are very nice once they're a lot closer to the mic. So here we are, BR2 and potato brown. Oops, this is the brush side, and I don't feel brave enough to go ahead and try doing the little swatch box with the brush side. As you can see, we've already bled out a little bit with a couple of the colors, but that's okay. Potato brown. I don't know if potatoes are typically this brown. To me, oh, I guess so. I usually use like the Yukon Gold potatoes. I think those are the ones. But I guess I can see how this could be. Alright. Very nice base we're working with here. So let's go with BR3 in raw beige. Very light color, raw beige. Alright, that was a cleaner box where we're improving here. So here we have BR3 in raw beige. Now we're moving to kind of more pinky shades. We're going to R1, which is coral pink. Coral pink, R1. If I can find it, okay. There, now you can see it better. R1, and I keep doing the brush side, not looking. So R1 in coral pink. This looks like a beautiful shade. Could be a very nice very nice blush shade. It was a little bit of a tongue twister for me. Very nice. I really like how this color, or how this marker is taking out the color. Very nice shade. This is a very beautiful shade. I really like this one. It kind of things I'm thinking that can be colored in with it could be like some flowers or things like that. Maybe like a dress, accessories. Very nice shade. Maybe I colored it in too much. I think I maybe am going over them a little much because they do get darker the more that you go in. So let's try with the next one not to do that. So R2 in vermilion. Okay. So this one's a very beautiful shade as well. I'm really liking that. Vermilion. More on the red tone of things. I think maybe I can kind of shade out the borders a little bit more to kind of show how that color can look once it's shaded in. And then maybe just fill it in with one initial swipe when filling in the middle. See if that makes a difference. Wow, this is a very nice shade as well. I'm liking now that we're going into the more colorful tones. We had more like skin tone shades over there. Again, I do apologize for any background noise, but sometimes things just don't play out 100%, but we work with what we have. So R4 in deep red was right in front, so I didn't have to go searching for it. Deep red. This for sure, once it's all filled out, is going to be very pleasing to just look at, and especially when deciding what color to go with when it has to do with like coloring in. It's going to be very, very nice to kind of get a more visual of that. Wow, this is very pretty too. Right. Deep red. I don't know how red that really is, but I mean, hey. I'm sure they have their reasoning. So next we have R5 in cherry pink. Here we go. R5 in cherry pink. Our cherry's pink. I think they're more like a wine shade almost. So I find it pretty interesting that they named it cherry pink. Because I feel like it's more like on the red and deeper red tone of things. So that's interesting. Alright. Cherry pink. Seems like this video is becoming a lot longer than I anticipated, so I might have to split up each of the color swatch cards into its own individual video so it's not too long, and so everyone gets to enjoy the coloring in of all the different ones as well. So next shade is R7 in Old Red. Old Red, here we go. This is kind of looking like more purple toned, which is interesting. Old Red. Oh my goodness, this is very, very deep color. This is kind of like a very nice Valentine's Day color palette, which Valentine's Day is coming up, which is cool. I do like how a lot of brands have been kind of advertising Galentine's Day more, which is cool, to make people not feel left out if they don't have like a significant other or something like that. I think it's just a day of love. It doesn't have to be necessarily only romantic. So that's really cool. It's a day to celebrate friendships and relationships as well. So this is Old Red Lux. It's very deep color, but I can see how it goes with those. I just don't know if I would consider that a red, but it's still cool nonetheless. So moving on to R8 and geranium. We'll go with geranium. R8. Here we go. Ooh, this one's a nice color too. I think these are all nice because they're kind of like I keep comparing them to look what happens. It does not come off at all. It will have to come off with like a lot of soap, so I'm surprised it's taken me this long to stain my finger. But R8. So as I was saying, these are, I guess, appeal to me a lot because they do remind me of like a lip shades with like lip products and stuff like that. This is kind of a nice way or idea that you can kind of swatch your own like maybe lip products onto some type of cardstock paper and kind of see what goes with each other, and like maybe see what you can use as like a lip liner with the main product you want to use. I think that's actually a very good idea to kind of have a color palette of your own personal collection, or just your own colors that you have in your makeup collection. It's a good idea actually. I'm sure it's not the most groundbreaking thing. Probably people have already done it, but interesting thought. So this was R8 and geranium. This was a very nice kind of deep red shade. I really like that one as well. R9 and pastel rose. Pastel rose. Here we are. Pastel rose. Very interesting. Very, very nice application. This one doesn't seem to be bleeding as quickly. Not sure if that means anything. Very, very nice. Pastel rose. Alright, so next we have R10 in pastel pink. So let's see here. Fine tip. 10 in pastel pink. Okay. Oh, this one's very bright. Kind of neon-ish vibe. Very, very rosy pink. Let's color it in. Wow, this one kind of colored in more seamless. Or maybe it's just I had more control of the marker. Very nice. Pastel pink in R10. Let's see how the rest of this swatch sheet is gonna go. We have 6 more squares to fill out. And this one is R11 in mauve shadow. R11. I'm not really sure what color I'm really looking for here. I'm assuming it's kind of a pinky shade. Oh, here we go. It's more on the pink, purple side. So we're kind of transitioning into that. Alright, I love the color purple as well. Definitely growing up, purple was my favorite color. And probably still is one of them. I would say purple and orange, which are 2 very different colors, are my 2 favorites. I do love blues. I actually really enjoy blue tones with nail polish, like when painting my nails. I do really enjoy those blue tones. So I guess you could say I like all of them, but for sure purples are very kind of pleasing to me. They seem like very like more calm color. So here we go. P1 with vivid purple. These are for sure, I'm sure, gonna be more punchy shades. Yep, just as I thought. So P1 and vivid purple. Oh, this is very nice. Very nice color. Okay. Getting more on the hang of it now. Vivid purple. Very beautiful. Almost like plum-ish looking shade. Really enjoyed that one. Next we have P2 in light violet. This one almost looks identical to the vivid purple, the outside of it. The button, I want to call them. Light violet. Okay, this one's very nice. I know I keep saying they're all very nice, but I don't know, I guess I'm just fascinated by these markers. They're so aesthetically pleasing, and they're actually very fun to work with too. So far, anyway. So next we have pastel violet. So P3 actually right here up front. And pastel violet. So we'll go ahead and start by outlining it. This is kind of, I guess, my method that seems to work a little better in not being so messy. Pastel violet. I feel like that name really does reflect the color accurately. So we have our pastel violet. Then we have P4 in lavender. Ooh. I'm really liking how this one's looking. P4 in lavender. Wow, I really like, yes, I like all of them, but that's a very nice shade of purple. That's a very beautiful shade. I would definitely paint my nails that color. I really like that. So let's see what color my nails kind of match in the most out of everything on here. I would say maybe it's closest to like the pastel rose, even though it does have a white like tone to it. And then we have our very last swatch on this card. P5 in aubergine. Hope I'm saying that right. P5. Ooh, this is beautiful. Nice deep color. Very deep purple. Okay. So we're doing the little outline on the sides. Oops. And then coloring it in. Wow. It's a beautiful, beautiful shade. And now we officially finished our first color swatch card. So we have done half the markers, and I'm really liking how this is looking. I'm really pleased with the variety in shades that this marker set has brought, and it actually came with something that I do want to look more into. It's shade 0, and it says it's a colorless blender. So a colorless blender, and it just looks like nothing, clear. I guess it has some type of material in it that allows the colors to blend more seamlessly, maybe when coloring a page or something like that. So definitely want to play around with that and see how that works for sure. Let's see how the back of this looks. Okay, so it's a pretty thick like cardstock paper, so good to see that it didn't bleed through, but for sure with some coloring pages I would have to use this little plastic so it doesn't go ahead and bleed through onto the page before. But yeah, so this was our first completed color swatch. I really do like the shades on here. And I like the way that they organized them as well. I think they do go together in their own way, which is really nice. So I'm really excited to go ahead and complete this second one, but given how long this one took, I think I'll go ahead and split it into another video so we can go ahead and enjoy some more coloring on the color swatch cards. Once again, our beautiful markers over here. And I just wanted to thank you guys so much for joining me today and coloring with me. Maybe you were doing something like coloring while you had this in the background, or you were kind of trying to see how the color palette would go ahead and build itself up. But no matter what way you watched this video, I wanted to thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope you enjoyed your time here together, and I will see you guys in the next one to go ahead and finish the second color swatch card.